Good morning, students. So let us start with the chapter Our Environment. First of all, you should know the definition of environment. It can be defined as the immediate surrounding present around us. This is our environment. Whether we are living in a healthy environment or unhealthy environment, it will be the result of the activities we perform. So what is environment? It is the immediate surrounding present around us. Now, let us see about the effect of adding waste to the environment. Because we human beings, we produce lots of waste materials, which includes the waste produced from our homes, from industries, etc. And these waste can cause pollution of air, water and soil. All these waste can be categorized into two categories. One, which can be acted upon by the microorganisms, forming the biodegradable waste, and the other which cannot be acted upon by the microorganisms and cause non-biodegradable waste. The biodegradable waste are decomposed with the help of microorganisms into harmless substances, and they include vegetables, fruits, pulses, cereals, cotton, jute, wool, wood, leather, paper, animal dung and animal bones. Whereas the non-biodegradable waste will remain as such and they cannot be decomposed by the microorganisms. They include polythene bags, plastics, synthetic fibers, glass, metals, synthetic rubber, insecticides and pesticides. So here we should be able to differentiate between the biodegradable and the non-biodegradable waste. The non-biodegradable waste will cause more effect on the environment because they are not going to get degraded. Okay, good morning, students. As you can see that I have kept few things in a tray. Like this is a bread and this is a small chapati just for the sample. This is potato, this is paper and this is glass, this is knife made up of iron, this is plastic. Now, my question to all of you is, out of all these things, which are the things which will be getting spoiled? And yes, your answer will be, it will be bread, chapati, potato and paper. Whereas nothing is going to happen to this glass, to this plastic, to this knife. Why? Because these are the things which will be acted upon by the microorganisms and the microorganisms will decompose them. But these things will not be acted upon by the microorganisms. So these things are known as biodegradable because the microorganisms are going to degrade them. And these are the non-biodegradable items as they cannot be acted upon by the microorganisms and cannot be degraded. So whenever we are throwing some type of waste, the waste will either... Now, when we speak of environment, we should also be well aware of the term ecosystem, because ecosystem is a system comprising of abiotic and biotic components. The abiotic components are the one which are non-living and the biotic components are the one which are living. So both these components together will form ecosystem and both these components interact among themselves. Depending upon the formation of ecosystems, we have two types of ecosystems. The natural ecosystems which are occurring in nature, for example, like forests, the deserts, the grasslands, the mountains, ponds, rivers, lakes, and the artificial ecosystem like the gardens, the parks, the crop fields, the aquariums, etc. We have already seen a demonstration of an artificial ecosystem in the form of aquarium. So in an ecosystem, you have biotic and abiotic types components which can be which interact with each other. So we should be very clear about the natural ecosystems and the artificial ecosystems. Now again, we have aquatic ecosystems and terrestrial ecosystems. The aquatic ecosystems will be in water, that is the rivers, the lakes, the oceans and the ponds, whereas the terrestrial ecosystems will be the forests, the deserts, the grasslands and the mountains. Now let us see the components of an ecosystem. As we have already discussed that an ecosystem is composed of biotic and abiotic components, let us see one by one. The biotic components will be, bio means life. So all living components like the plants, the animals and the microorganism will form the biotic components, which will further include the producers. The producers are all green plants which can make their own food, that is they are autotrophs. And secondly are the consumers which depend on plants. Now these consumers can be herbivores, carnivores or omnivores, and then the last ones are the decomposers. The abiotic components are the non-living components like air, water, soil, sunlight, etc. Now, here is a system, we can say that it is an aquatic ecosystem. As we have already defined that ecosystem is consisting of biotic and abiotic component. Because it is an aquarium, so it will be an artificial ecosystem and not a natural ecosystem. The biotic components in this ecosystem are the fishes, the plants, whereas the abiotic components are the water, the air bubbles you can see and the stone. So by this small visualization, the concept of ecosystem is clear, that ecosystem comprises of both abiotic and biotic components. The biotic components are living, whereas the non-biotic components are non-living. So we have already discussed that ecosystem is interaction between the organisms. So in an ecosystem, one organism depends upon the other to fulfill its energy requirement. And it follows a sequence of obtaining energy. This is known as food chain. So a food chain is the flow of food energy from one organism to the next and then to the next and so on. So for example, grass is eaten by deer and deer is eaten by lion. Grass is eaten by insect and insect is eaten by frog and then by snake. Grass is eaten by moth, or the moth is eaten by frog and the frog is eaten by snake and the hawk. So here you can see in different food chains that it has got maximum 4 or 5 levels. 4 or 5 levels. So it is comprising of only 4 organisms or 5 organisms. Now these organisms, they occupy a definite position in an ecosystem and they will be representing the trophic levels. So the trophic levels are the positions occupied by the organisms in a food chain or in an ecosystem. So the trophic levels will include primary producers, which will have the plants. They have the consumers, which can be categorized into primary consumers. They can be herbivores. The secondary consumers can be the carnivores and tertiary consumers can be the omnivorous. So you have primary consumers, you have secondary consumers, you have tertiary consumers, and then you have the producers. So you have different trophic levels in an ecosystem or in a food chain. So a food chain is simply an organism depending upon the other. But if we comprise different food chains, it will lead to the formation of food web. In case of food chain, an organism has only one option, that is, it will get food only from one group of organisms. But if we interconnect many food chains together, or it is an interconnection of food chains, it will lead to a food web. Remember, students, in forest, the food chain does not work. It is only the food web where one organism has more options of getting food, or it can get food from more than one group of organisms. Now, because one organism is depending upon the other organism for its food, that means the energy present in the producers is transferred to the primary consumers, and then to the secondary consumers, and then to the tertiary consumers. So we should be clarified that how much energy is available to each trophic level. Let us first understand that how much energy is captured by plants for the process of photosynthesis. So beta, it is only 1% of the total solar energy which is following on earth, which is used for photosynthesis. Only 1% of total solar energy. Transfer of energy from one trophic level to the next trophic level follows 10% law of energy transfer. That is, only 10% of energy will be transferred to the next trophic level, whereas 90% of the energy will be consumed or will be utilized by the organism itself. So you have to remember that 10% law of energy transfer is there, and that is why we have limited trophic levels in a food chain. So let us try to explain the 10% law with the help of an example. Suppose there is 1000 kilojoules of energy present in plants. 1000 kilojoules of energy present in plants. For this 1000 kilojoules, 90% will be used by the plant. Students, you have to remember 90%. You will not deduct 1000 में से 90% of this 1000 kilojoules will be used by the organism, and only 10% of this 1000 kilojoules will be transferred to the next trophic level. So for the next trophic level, it will be only 100 kilojoules, and from that 100, again 10% you have to calculate. It will come to 10% for the secondary consumers, and for that 10%, again 10% when you will calculate, it will come to only 1% for the tertiary consumers. So you have to remember that after 4 or 5 trophic levels, there is no availability of energy in the food chain. That is why we have limited number of trophic levels in a food chain.